Hi guys, DK here with part 3 of this building a corner desk for Sue, and today we're heading out to my friend Monique's wood factory. So this is a really good facility, and she had already laminated up this top for us, and I've just set it up in one of her CNC machines here to start the cutting. And here we are doing some air passes just to check my toolpath's okay. And then we'll lower the tool bit down and get into the actual cutting. So this is just the first pass, trimming off the end of the board square here, and you can see the setup here is all clamped down. We'll talk more about the setup as we work our way along, but it made more sense to clamp this down rather than to try and use a vacuum. So as soon as that first end is trimmed off square, we'll move up and start doing the angled cuts. So you can see I carefully set these clamps up so to be each side of where this cut was going to occur. So holding these pieces nice and securely, and we no worries about hitting the clamps because we're just using this slotting toolpath. So I think all up we're cutting to about 40 millimeters deep, and just on some small step downs. So nearly through to the bottom side of here, and now we have to change the setup to do the next end. So I've shifted the clamps along and rechecked that everything is going to be clear of the cut, and we're just doing the second of the 22.5 degree angled cuts here. And you can see there is some blue painter's tape is still sitting on this glued up top. That's absolutely fine. There's going to be a considerable amount of sanding and finishing going on, so that'll all come off as we work our way through the rest of the processes. There we go. You can see how that tool bit is just cutting clear of the of each end of the slot here, so to make sure we get a full length cut. And you can also note with the setup of how this laminated board is actually sitting up on two pieces of scrap 5mm timber offcuts. That just allows it to sit up off the bed, and those are sacrificial. We're barely machining into them when we're on the last pass with the toolpath, so we're not getting anywhere near the bed, but I clamped the whole top down onto those sticks. This is can be quite a handy setup for this type of cutting. And you can see just that's the scrap piece left on the end of this cut, and we'll be on to the glue up. So we decided to use some biscuits just to align these pieces. So that's the glue going into the biscuit joints there, and you can see them on the other piece there. And here's Sue and Monique just getting all the clamping organised. This was an interesting setup because of that angled end. We ended up with some 45 degree cut timbers that we and some wedges to sort of put those against to actually finish this, to have everything clamped effectively in one setup. And you can see those there. So this was left for a couple of hours to set up with a fast setting adhesive, and then it was time to pull the clamps off. And you can see there we now have the corner assembly. With the clamps off, it was then off to the sanding bay and a hearing protection suit, and then into the start of the finishing on this. So this was a heavy cut back with a random orbit sander just to get everything back nice and flat. And you can see how nice that is starting to look with that with all of the really nice grain and features in these laminated timbers. And here is the leg setup, which had arrived in before that same week. So we just mocked that up, and Sue got into a little bit more sanding. But from here, we're going to load this back up into the van, and we're going to head home to do the rest of the sanding and the finishing. There we have, guys. I hope you found this interesting, and stay tuned for part 4.